Okay, for today's Fallout Friday, we're going to be working on Arcade Gannon, the second model from one of our new Vegas companion boxes. So we've got a pretty decently detailed model here. We've got his glasses, a lot of little techie bits and patches on his outfit. So we got like the little box there, these shoulder pads all over the place, knee pads, lots of buckles and everything that'll be picked up pretty well. So lots of detail to play with. So we're going to go ahead and start as usual with the flesh pieces. So we're going to use our girly man flesh and just go. We're not going to worry about the glasses right now. We'll come back and hit those later. So we're just going to worry about getting the flesh tones applied and go from there. Okay, now for his hair, it's kind of a yellowish brown from all the screenshots I've seen. It can be hard to tell from in-game screenshots simply because, you know, the game is a little older and a little washed out. So what I'm going to go with is some Nazdreg yellow mixed with Aggaros dunes, and then an equal part of medium to kind of thin her down a bit. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and do his inner coat, which is a off-white itself. So what I'm actually going to use for it is a skeleton horde. It's very light brown, and I'm going to make it even thinner with some medium, just because I, just want a bit of tinge of color. I'm not really trying to make it brown. I just want it to be slightly off-white. Now, for his pants, we're going to go with brown, simply because they are a little different than what they appear in-game, so I'm not going to use the pure in-game setup. And I'm going to save these knee pads to be done up in gray. Alright, now for his gun, we're going to go with straight Basilicanum gray on it. Not quite sure what pistol he has. I'm not as familiar with the New Vegas ones. I think it might be a 10 mil, or it could be an energy of some kind. I figure it would be like a laser pistol or something. Now, for the majority of his lab coat, we're going with Apothecary White. And since this is over the Wraithbone primer that's designed for the contrast paints, it'll come out a quite white appearance. Alright, now for the boots, I'm going to go ahead and go with Black Templar on those, since he wouldn't be, he's more techie, so I don't want to do a leather boot, but a nice black one should look good. Alright, so I also went ahead and hit the knee and elbow pads with black, as well as the techie bit in his belt. So that all looks good. I'm saving the shoulder pads for red. In his game file, he actually has a red symbol on his shoulder. I believe it's for the followers of the Apocalypse. But for the model, he just has these shoulder pads, so I'm just going to do those red, kind of add a bit of color and match into that. But for now, I'm going to let it dry a bit. His base does have some details. They're just a little hard to see. So we have a roll of bandages here with a stim pack underneath it. So the rest is all rocks and base. So what I'm going to do while it's drying off camera real quick is go ahead and do the Towelite Ochre for the dirt, and that'll help me also pick out the detail pieces to paint later. Alright, so let's look where we're at. Okay, looking good. Stuff to pick out the glasses and the shoulder pads and the grip under the gun. So let's go ahead and start in there. We're going to do the shoulder pads in Flesh Terror Red, just to give that spark of color and link back to the original model design. Alright, so that's the bandage, not toilet paper, picked out, and the stim pack, and all of his details done. So now we're going to hit some of the rocks on his base and kind of pick those out in this dark gray. And then we're going to start looking at doing some dry brushing of the rocks with a light gray and hitting the bottom of his cloak as well as his boots with Towelite Ochre to weather them a little. Alright, so now let's do some dry brush weathering for his clothes here. So I'm just going to take our Towelite Ochre and my handy dandy dry brush. Just need a little bit of paint. Work it into the brush. Wiping most of it off, of course, especially in this case, as I don't want a super heavy amount. And let's go to town. Alright, so what I did was especially hit his knee pads there, figuring he'll constantly be working over someone. Made sure to hit the lower sections of his lab coat and still apply a bit of dirt to the top just to kind of dingy it up a bit, and his boots. So that pulls our colors together quite nicely. Now, before I go ahead and do dry brush on the light rocks, I'm going to go ahead and do my Agrax Earthshade and let it dry after that. Alright, so that's set to dry. I will go ahead and do the dry brush on the rocks after, seal it up, and then we'll be back to look at those rocks and apply some tufts. Alright, so as we can see, we have Arcade all done. Nice weathering on the back and everything. Rocks are standing out nicely, and there's so many rocks that realistically I only need to apply one small tuft. Or actually, it's only how much room I even have. So just going to use a bit of PVA glue. More than that, apparently. There we go. And the best place is going to be right here. And we're going to call him done. See, I think those red shoulder pads really give a nice bit of color. Bandage and the stim pack look good. All very nice and detailed. So, we have one more model from the companion set. So next week we'll be doing Boone, and then after that I'll be going back and revisiting some older models. I'm going to roll over my hobby pledge for February into March. I just had too many things going on in February, and probably work on some Enclave. So I will probably do some videos for those, and some Survivors as well, maybe. So we will see you all again next time.